Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned. Albino lists every game he's played this month. This month being January of 2021. Holla at us, 2020 is over. Thank God no bad things will happen ever again. This month I played some new games, new demos, and a fair amount of new old games I hadn't talked about before, so we're about to double the content of the last episode. Let's get it started. Number 1, Resident Evil 8 demo. The RE demo, known as Maiden, in all caps, released as a timed exclusive on PS5 and is a 20-minute or so taste of the dungeon and interior of a castle. We're in a first-person perspective like in Resident Evil 7, and I'm a fan of the atmosphere and especially the developer's decision to make the antagonists of the game such a waifu material. If you like the idea of your waifu sticking you like a pig with her Wolverine claws, this is the game for you. All I know is I already pre-ordered it and we'll see what else it's got to offer. Number 2, Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves briefly went on sale for $20 on Steam, so I picked it up at some friend's behest and had a relatively decent time sailing the seas, fighting skeletons, and looting treasure for about 15 hours before I had had my fill of sailing the seas, fighting skeletons, and looting treasure. If you like sailing the seas, fighting skeletons, and looting treasure, this is the game for you until you get tired of sailing the seas, fighting skeletons, and looting treasure, especially with no RPG mechanics or meaningful progression. The goal is essentially to get enough gold to be able to buy things that make you look cool as you go back out to get enough gold to buy the next thing that makes you look cool, since it's all cosmetic with no difference. The game is apparently coming out with seasons now soon, so maybe that changes, but if it keeps everything as just cosmetic, there's simply no point. Number 3, Fire Emblem Three Houses. I dipped my toe back in and immediately got pulled under again. I am currently on my 9th New Game Plus file of Fire Emblem Three Houses. The permanent progression of your units from a skill and class perspective from run to run just keep me coming back. It is so fulfilling to be able to spend fat stacks of renown to make your students OP as shit right from the beginning with saved battalions and instant access to high quality weaponry and class abilities, with enough renown left over to immediately recruit any student you want by buying their support levels and having access to every paralog mission. The New Game Plus aspects alone blow everything else out of the water, but even before you get to that level, having 3, technically 4 different story routes to play that are each like 80 hours long just means there's pretty much no reason to ever stop playing this game until the next Fire Emblem comes along, a game which will have a hell of a time trying to top this teacher-student progression dynamic. I listed this game as my game of the decade from the 2010 to 2020 years for a reason, and by reason I mean like a dozen reasons. Number 4, Darkest Dungeon. I used to love Darkest Dungeon. I spent 150 hours in it during its original early access stint on Steam, back before it implemented a crap ton of annoying mechanics designed to make the game harder and be annoying. I played this game before corpses were even a thing, before half the classes got nerfed into the ground, before the Crimson Court DLC added the dumbest mechanic I've ever seen in a video game called The Blood, and before I started to not like playing this game at all. Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming out in early access as an Epic Games exclusive because fuck you, and it bothers me that I'm going to miss the best stage of its development before they add a bunch of in-game hindrances that turn me off forever. I'm surprised the food you bring during missions didn't get patched to have a 30% chance to randomly cause an allergic reaction to one of your party members and instantly put them at death's door. That seems like the type of stuff Red Oak would think of and be like, oh, that definitely has to be in the game. Darkest Dungeon is too punishing. Just look at this tutorial footage on normal difficulty. I literally didn't do anything wrong, and both my units still died to bad luck. And afterwards, the game is still like, victory! Because even it can't comprehend how ridiculous it was that I missed 2 coin flip stuns in a row and got critted to hell, while the gunman got to hide behind a fat dead body for 2 turns because corpses are such a necessary addition to an already batshit insane game. Number 5, Omori. Omori is better than Undertale. There, I said it. Very comparable games. If you like Undertale, you'll probably like Omori, which differs in the combat, but the overworld traversal, cast of characters, and general atmosphere are definitely in the same vein. Omori's story is darker and more disturbing, though, surrounding a group of friends who've got some real issues, but the less you know going in, the better, so just play it knowing that it has absolutely terrific music. I also think it should be an anime. Some of the scenes would really benefit from a higher resolution and some good cinematography. Just let me do some voices in it, please. Number Number 6, Splatoon 2. This is one of those games you buy because people pester you to, and then after 3 matches you're like, oh, I should not have done this. This was $60 even in the year 2020 because Nintendo doesn't understand value depreciation. I'm not bad at it, not particularly good either, but while I'm probably more suited to inking turf than engaging the enemy team, I don't find that to be that fun no matter what weapon I'm using. It doesn't help that every time I log in, I have to watch 2 adolescent fish monsters host an entire talk show about what 2 maps I can play for the next hour so I can hop in a match and earn next to no experience points because I didn't redeem a voucher. After 5 hours, I was level 9 in a game that goes up to 99 with the option to prestige. There's nothing wrong with Splatoon 2 as a concept, it is just aggressively not for me. Number 7, Maneater. Maneater, the self-described shark PG, is a game that was free on PlayStation Plus for a month, so I acquired it. Played it for an hour or 2, and I'm here to report that it's like, not the worst. It can be sort of fun. It's also gross though, I just don't like seeing all the blood in the water. I encountered a camera glitch that persisted even after I reloaded the game where I could only see the inside of my shark's mouth and the game crashed twice at 2 other points. Let's just say that even though sharks tend to prefer deeper waters, I'd consider this a pretty shallow RPG, so play it for an hour to have the experience of having played it and then move on. Number 8, Cyber Shadow. Cyber Shadow is a 2D retro-style action platformer where you play as a ninja who runs at the speed of molasses and jumps at very inconsistent heights while attacking robotic enemies that include turrets who get hit once, go into hiding, and come back 10 seconds later while you sit there impatiently waiting so you can destroy them for good, and flying enemies who come at you from off-screen with no warning at fighter jet speeds. This is what the people would call a punishing platformer, and I certainly did feel like I was being punished when I played it for an hour. I've played my fair share of 2D punishing platformers. Celeste, Super Meat Boy, and punishing 2D action platformers like Salt and Sanctuary, Hollow Knight, and Ori. I enjoyed all of those things. This is none of those things. This is a time machine back to when games weren't as good, which is what some people want, so good for them, but it ain't for me. Number 9, Balan Wonderworld demo. When this game was announced, I thought it was going to be a mediocre collectathon, but having played the demo, I would now classify it as a mediocre collectathon with some absolutely gorgeous cutscenes. They don't all look like this, but the ones that do, oh boy, a visual treat for the ages. The gameplay, however, is very substandard, and while the hidden secrets might encourage extended playtime, none of it felt responsive and it all felt very slow. Some stuff might have been changed for demo purposes, but one of this game's biggest supposed flexes is its super large menagerie of changeable costumes that all have different abilities, but they've placed tons of limitations on that, like only being able to have 3 at a time, duplicates included, and no means of accessing any but the most recent ones you've acquired or the ones relegated to the particular level you're in. Imagine Super Mario Odyssey's hat transformations, except they only alter one thing about your character and it's never exciting. Not to mention a bunch of them take away your ability to jump, which is just stupid, and your character ability is mapped to literally every single button on your controller at the same time. Want to shoot a fireball in your dragon costume? Just press circle, or X, or triangle, or square, or R1, or R2, or the PS button, or the power button on your console, or the fast forward button on your TV remote. Everything does your ability. I'm also genuinely creeped out by how many monsters in this game are just doing random dances like they're shooting a TikTok video and that they just disappear if you walk up to them. Is everyone in this game dead? Is Balan Wonderworld just a fancy name for purgatory? I'd rather be in hell. I don't understand half the mechanics in this game, like why I'm collecting a bunch of different colored gems just to feed them to some fat puffy birds in the hub world for no obvious benefit. Balan Wonderworld makes no sense to me as a whole, and I will be very interested in reading about the 6s and 7s it gets when it comes out. Number 10, the Hitman Trilogy. Hitman is a franchise that I absolutely cannot believe I haven't played until now. Hitman 3 came out in January and I bought 1 and 2 to prepare myself and see if it would be something I'd like, and the short answer is, oh god, yes. The pure sandbox nature of the assassinations, playgrounds to kill your targets in countless different ways with challenges to complete and new equipment to unlock is just perfect. I haven't played 3 yet because I only just got to Hitman 2, but I've yet to be disappointed by anything in this trilogy, and coming in late, there is such a treasure trove trove of content to sift through outside the main story because of how it was all being added incrementally after the games launched, new areas are overwhelming at first, but after you've memorized every inch of them, you feel like an actual god who can make anything happen exactly how he wants. Not to mention each game's content can be carried over into the next game, incorporating whatever new mechanics that game adds, so Hitman 3 will effectively have 3 games worth of shit to do with the best way to do it. I tremble with excitement. But that's every game I played this month. Tune in next month for every game I played that month. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.